Welcome to the Unfinished Work Show. I am Mike Lake in the building, episode 5, community. So my streaming program and my camera wanted to act weird, but I think everything is good now. If I didn't already say it, I am Mike Lake. I was sitting there looking crazy because for a second, you know what? It probably was meant to be because the first like 30 seconds of me talking, I didn't have my hat on, so my wig was out. I was sitting back here looking crazy, looking real crazy I haven't shaved my head yet, so it was in that half like grown back state that it does when it gets like that. Because I'm not totally bald, but it's definitely the hairline has receded like most of the lakes and rivers and streams out here because we ain't had rain in a long time. Ironically, we have rain today. But that's neither here nor there. Episode 5, community. It's funny. I think y'all would have seen it. Y'all would have thought it was crazy. But for giggles, when you watch this on playback, throw up an old man emoji for your boy in the comments. Also, while you at it, hit like, hit the share button. First person to pop up on your share list, send it to them. Send it to 20 people. I don't know. Help your boy out. Thank y'all for being here. Another week. Actually, this is a new month. This is episode 5, which means I went through 4, and on a weekly show, if you can do math, you could follow and understand that this is a new month. So all last month, I wanted to focus on out of the principles that I've been following that lead my life. That's facts. I've been following the A. All last month, it was about accountability. We talked about first holding myself accountable. Then, I'm not sure if these are going to be in order, but then we talked about identity. We talked about a few other things. I don't know. The list is there. If you can't find it, somehow you found this stream, it should be visible to you. But also check out the website, unfinishedworkshow.com. That's where you find the live stream. You'll find any social media contact or anything as we built this out. Another thing I wanted to say was I think, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this because I think I'll say it like this. You never know what type of effect you're having on people. You never know what type of impact. Impact sounds like such a big word, so let me make it smaller. You never know how you affect people on the day-to-day. That a quick conversation here, a little advice there, maybe your story might, sharing your story with somebody allows them the emotional latitude to feel like they're not out there on a limb by themselves and can inspire. Inspire again sounds like such a big word. I'm trying to be humble here. I'll just say this. When people reach out and they say, hey man, I see what you're doing. I like what you're doing. And because of that, I've started doing this. Without betraying anyone's confidence, to just say salute to everybody out there doing something. And truthfully, even for me, a lot of my friends and family and people I interact with, people I network with, and you know what's tripping? This is going to annoy me the whole show, so I'm going to pause for 1 second. Okay, so what if I fell out the chair trying to sit back down? So the autofocus is still acting crazy. Hold on. I think we got it now. I think we in the building. Let me lean a little forward. There we go. Looking all bright and shiny and how I'm supposed to be in all my luster with all this chocolate, all this gray, all the purple and gold of this Black Panther t-shirt. And you know what's crazy? Why they put so many abs on your boy? on the gut part of the shirt, knowing that most of the people who wear this shirt probably are out of shape nerds. And I think I've taken a little bit of offense to the placement of T'Challa's abs on the t-shirt. But in any case, I was just simply saying, just keep doing what you're doing. You never know what type of an effect you have on people. You'll never know, and I'm not gonna say never. They may tell you, but you just don't know how the little things that you say and that you do and that you experience and you share might affect them. On social media, we get bombarded with a lot of, I'm not even gonna say clickbait, with just a lot of like stimulation to a point. Everybody doing something fun, everybody turning up, everybody living their best life, spending the $1 million that they earned or whatever. Everybody rich. It's this crazy bombardment of like things that happen on social media. And sometimes you'll find in between those spaces, just small interactions, small comments, hitting a like button, or even just sharing somebody else's stuff. And I'm not saying that to guilt y'all into sharing mine, but please do. I'm saying that support shows up in different ways. Conversations matter to people, and you might be somebody's lifeline, and they didn't know. Not only did they know they didn't know they needed it, but I found myself inspired in the most random of ways where somebody was just talking about something and it just hit me a little different than the way that they was even intending. So I appreciate everybody. Again, I'll say this every week. If you comment on the actual YouTube or any of the social media, or shoot me a direct text or whatever you can do to let me know you listening and you at least heard what I said, even if you don't like what I said, that's fine. But just let you know that it's not just one-sided, and it's all love on my end. And I just try to do this thing to try to be there for somebody who might need that type of thing, which actually was a little bit of how the show was inspired to be made. As I was making changes in my life and conversations I was having with people who I didn't even know was paying attention like that. And I just figure, if I'm on this journey, I can't be the only one. And, let's get it. Personal update. I think I'm on day 11 of 75 Hard. Man, it's still hard. It's still not the easiest thing to totally just change your adult lifelong habits of just kind of being lazy, of eating improperly, of not doing things to improve yourself on a physical format. And I started this journey 11 days ago. And my girl will tell you, and a couple of the homies will tell you too, that sometimes I'm going through it. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I got all this work to do. I got all this stuff to do. And then still have to find time to fit these things in. Even last week after this show, I still had to do the second 45-minute workout. So I wrapped up this show. I did my second podcast that I co-host called Bear the Image. Not even a shameless plug. I'm plugging it. A faith-based podcast where we talk about the Bible and how it is to bear the image of Christ. But after doing this, I did this show. I did that show. I wrapped up, scarfed down some food real quick, some ground turkey spaghetti or something that we had. And then I ran out to the gym, which is nuts. And the gym, atmosphere of the gym at 10:30, 11 o'clock. It's interesting. People are in there working. Salute to anytime I go in there, any early morning, midday, or night, there are people in the gym putting in work. And I thought I was going to walk in there. It's going to be ghost town, crickets and whatnot, because it was a Thursday too. And I'm just imagining my life at a certain point when Thursdays was cracking and I wasn't in no gym, but people were in there and they were actually tossing up the weights, people on all the cardio machines. It was crazy. Interesting. I don't have to go today because I got my workouts in early. In fact, I just remembered I didn't upload the picture. Yeah, I know, Jake. Thank you. It's a whole thing. It had to do with the autofocus of the camera, so I'm actually sitting further to this side than the other side. But anyway, that was weird. I just referred to him like he messaged where y'all could see it. What was I saying? Oh, so first workout, I had a work day where I had some time off in the middle. I got into the Nike app, did some of the Nike workouts, which funnily enough, one of them was a glute workout. And I guess it was geared for the ladies or something. I don't know. It I just did it. But it wasn't even easy. It was hard because I ain't got cheeks like that. I ain't got cheek muscles like that. But I did that. Did a couple core workouts and a pre-run stretch. Not stretch. It was workout. Pre-run warm up, and then I ran over to the gym, hit some cardio for about 20 minutes. Backed at it on the back end with a 10-minute incline walk on the treadmill or whatever. I don't trust those things. I tried to run on them things once, and the belt slipped on me, and I thought I was gonna break my knee or something. So I won't run on those. I'll just run outside when I do run, which is rare because I hate running. But anyway, that was my workout today for the first workout. The second workout, I was out in Lando Lake, so I said, let me just knock out a quick workout while I was working, and I started walking on this trail, and then the trail turned into like a hike in a wooded area around a lake, which the lake was cool, and I had a dope pic. I'll post it on somewhere. I don't know. Follow me on wherever. But anyway, I had a dope pic of the lake, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Let me follow this little trail. And then I ended up behind the lake going into like a wooded area. And then it was like a trail to a wooded area, which led to a picnic area. All in all, if I was a little bit smaller and I didn't have the hands that I have, I might have been a little nervous. But where I started actually getting nervous, because no creeper gonna put their hands on me. I started getting nervous when I started hearing these little buzzing noises, these little bzz, bzz. And I ain't talking about a bee. I'm talking about something big that when the wings was flapping, you could hear the flaps. I started to look around like, where am I at? Where is this prehistoric piece of land that's set apart from where is civilization? But I was in the middle of working out, so I wanted to finish it because I'm focused on my goal of trying to hit this 75 days and losing weight. But these buzzing noises started to happen, and if you from Florida, if you anywhere around Florida, you ever heard of mink, 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 like that joint? I started hearing that, and then either that's frogs or alligators. I don't remember. Maybe Jake could tell me. But it started no, it wasn't no hummingbirds. But anyway, the noises started as I continued on the path. What I thought was back to civilization around this lake was deeper into the woods, and it was getting crazy, and it was hot. It was like midday, 2-3 o'clock, after it had rained and before it rained again. You know, that steamy period where you feel like a crab in Publix. But yeah, it was crazy. All in all, I made it through the walk. I encountered no wildlife directly, although something that flew did run into me, which gave me a little pep in my step. And that actually gives me an idea. What might get me to run might be being a little bit scared of nature. But anyway, it was Jurassic Park out there. There was all signs about snakes, and the sign literally said, beware, there are snakes in trees, and don't walk your small dogs close to the edge of the water, which I imagine is for alligators. I was just trying to take a walk. I'm just trying to get my second workout in so I can knock off my 75 hard and nature out here being wild. I thought I was on a regular cement path that circled around a lake, which sounds cool. Not because my last name is Lake. But no, I was on the journey to the Jurassic Park in the middle of Florida for some reason. But anyway, I made it back around to the other side. There was a gate to come back to regular civilization, and I made it back to my vehicle. Sweatier, a little bit, kind of laughing at myself for being a punk in nature, but I don't know. Maybe it's the blood that runs through my veins is African, and when animals start doing weird stuff, I start getting a little nervous, and I want to move a little faster. So maybe motivation, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, that was my workout today. I don't know why I went into detail about that. I know why. I wanted to show y'all the picture of the nature and how on one side it was like, oh, this is beautiful and serene. There was clouds and the water was reflective, and it was a dope pic. I feel like I was a photographer taking it. And then the next one was like, how did we get into the swamp? Anyway, the reason is because in 75 hard, one of the workouts has to be outdoors. That's how I ended up in the situation. I guess I should have started there. I don't know. Unfinished work. I still got more work to do. It's only day 11. I got to finish the rest of this gallon of water, which ain't hard. When you're working out, you thirsty. I still got to eat, which we prepped a good meal of roasted chicken breast. And I think we're going to do it enchilada style. So we got some red peppers and stuff. It's healthy. I don't know. We following this diet. In any case, let me get to the point. Community. Not only is Community one of the best sitcoms of all time, what if I just flipped the script and just sat here and talked about the show Community for 20 minutes? Community is an amazing sitcom TV show about some kids or some adults in college and all the fun that ensues. One of my favorite sitcoms to air, and I can't wait for the movie or the 6th season or 7th season, whatever they're going to do. Anyway, as it relates to Community, so Malcolm Gladwell, I read a book of his. I love Malcolm Gladwell. He's one of my favorite authors. He's very heady, very sciencey. Anyway, he in his book Outliers, he says each of us has his or her own distinct personality, but overlaid on top of the tendencies and assumptions and reflexes handed down to us by the history of the community we grew up in. And those differences are extraordinarily specific. That's a Malcolm Gladwell quote on Community. What Community, if you don't know, we talked about identity in like episode 2 or 3, and Community is a group of people who identify as you identify or is working towards a common goal. It's something that's in human nature for us to congregate. I would say that's how God designed us. Clearly, He made Adam then Eve, but we commune in order to pool resources, ideas, safety. There's safety in numbers. And I say we, animals even do this. There are herds, there are flocks, etc. Community is something that is needed in order for you to thrive and continue to survive when things get a little hectic. Because when you're out by yourself, sometimes you only have to worry about yourself. But in a lot of ways, I can see that as demotivating and or just plain lonely. And that's that. So Community is a group of people who identifies the same as you are working to a common goal. Now, sometimes when you're in a community, sometimes you don't want to be in it. Sometimes you end up accidentally in community, either due to proximity or gender or race. And we all know that when they be wildin' and you just happen to be near them and you kind of look like them, you want to distance yourself. But that's selective. What I'm saying is, I wouldn't find it as a habit to isolate myself away from what I otherwise call my community, except for when there being a problem for me visually or something like that. Now, when I say community, I'm curious, as you rewatch this back on playback, what comes to your mind? What communities do you identify with? Because when I first was thinking of what to do for the topic, a few of them pop into mind right away. First of all, I'm a Christian. I'm Black, if you couldn't tell. I'm a nerd. I'm a parent. I've been called a gamer in my day. And at this point, I also somewhat identify as a creative. These are all communities that Jake, guilty by association. These are all communities that I either identify with or inherently am placed in due to certain circumstances, such as my race. But don't get it twisted. I wholeheartedly, lovedly identify as Black. But it's a lot like when you are just doing your thing. Let's say you're like a street baller. In fact, as I try to think of different ways to say this in a better way, I could be more concise and just make this point. Whatever title I give it, that's a community. There are community of skateboarders. There are street ballers. There are fashion people. There are college people. That we've even seen the movies and the rom-coms and the comedies, outright comedies, where the early introduction is to walk into the lunchroom and then they start identifying different people or cliques that they have at different tables. And everybody knows there's like the jock table, there's the lame people table, or I don't think they call them that. I think they call them nerds, or they used to. What do they call nerds now? I don't know. Nerds are cool now, but back when I was in school, it wasn't all that cool. But anyway, you have those different groups that identify as, we know generally what the thing that we have in common means that we can communicate and have some type of familiarity there. There's a certain like hip hop community. I'm a part of the hip hop community. I don't know how I left that out. And there's even other levels, like ones that I'm not directly familiar with, but indirectly, like the fitness community. There's career-based communities. There are people, like your Wall Streeters versus your blue collars, and things like that. There's also culture-based communities. I named race outright, but even culturally, you might have like within the Latino community, you might have your Mexicans, or you definitely have your Mexicans, and you definitely have your Caribbean Latinos and your South American Latinos that all may identify with their nationality and or some version of their version of Latino. That felt like a landmine to dance through anyway for no reason. I ain't got nothing. Salute to the Latinos. And then there's other groups that you might just inherently be a part of, such as a team. If y'all are working towards that same goal, you're in the community of what your team is. Now they call that different things. They might call it culture, such as a certain team culture. I heard recently they were talking about the Miami Heat and the Heat culture in the locker room and how that's a whole thing that leads to their success over time. Which I'm not going to bore y'all with the details of that. Just know that they have a certain culture of focus and work ethic that they suss for when they're looking for certain players to come to the team. If you've ever been to Miami, you can imagine it's a crazy place, and they need people who focus and ready and locked in on the goal at hand. Not every team has a good culture. Not every business has good culture. Not every group of people even has what I would call good culture. And if you've ever been a part of community, you probably have seen where certain aspects of that culture might be tainted. For instance, as a nerd, I love all these nerd movies that's coming out. But I remember a few years back when one of the Star Wars was dropping, how the certain part of the nerd community was lashing out at the Asian girl from that movie and just going at her about her looks and all this stuff that had nothing to do with the movie. And that was one of the lower times where you're like, y'all were shunned for years, or we were shunned for years, and here you are targeting somebody who's just trying to bring your thing to life, which is nuts. But anyway, sometimes you see how the culture within a community could be turned. Looking at even just the real life communities of like where you live. If you've been in a neighborhood long enough, you've seen over time how that community could change due to people moving in and out, due to property values, due to the economy or whatever. Whole cities have gone through community change and culture change due to certain aspects, like the city of Detroit and how it was on the downswing once they lost this isn't a show about business. I'm just making the point that we know Detroit had a lot of rundown houses, a lot of crime, a lot of nonsense. There's also a lot of that going on in other big cities, such as Chicago with all the shootings, or let's say like LA with all the homelessness and I'm sure all the crime. But I digress. Your community sometimes happens to do with where you live. That's a whole proximity thing. Now, within that, you find where people start to lose focus on what they're doing within their community when they run into what I would call cliques of people who are with, like, imagine being in a community where the people within that community are bickering about what makes it a thing. You see it in the black community on not in general. Well, you probably see it in general, but I don't. Online, you see it as people identifying who's real black. You're not real black if you didn't marry a black woman. Like, I'm not real black if I didn't marry a black woman. That's weird. You're not real black if you're not this or that, or if you don't conduct yourself in this manner. You're not a real gamer if you game on Nintendo. I don't know. I just pulled something. You're not a real gamer if you're not using PC. Is a better one. You can do a lot within your own community to be battling. There's splits. Even in your political communities, you might have a certain group of Republicans that identify as like, we're all conservative, but we're conservative differently than those group of people who are conservative, like the people who may want to vote for DeSantis and the people who may want to vote for Trump. Excuse me. That these are going to start to become conversations that you hear pop up where communities are infighting within themselves, and that's where you lose focus of the ultimate goal. Or we came together to create a thing, or we came into a thing that was created, and we're trying to work towards something, and now we're infighting about the best way to do that, when ultimately the goal is to achieve said goal. Now, I asked a question on social media just before when I posted this. I think it's ironic, before I ask the question, I think it's ironic that the wolf, one of the animals that is known for being in packs, has also become synonymous with people who want to go away. And I don't mean the MGTOW people that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I mean people who want to be by themselves are called lone wolves. And then I asked the question, which is better? What are you? Are you a lone wolf or are you part of the pack? Some people want to be a part of the pack and they want to be the alpha, and the alpha is not their role, so they feel like they have to leave to start their own pack. I don't know how this works. All I know is for all my life, all my goals, all my attempts at anything in life, I've been surrounded by a community of amazing people who know how to celebrate me when I'm on point, moving toward the mission or towards the mission that I stated. And I also check me and keep me in line when I'm not, when they see me doing something that's against my own goals. I surround myself with friends that could tell you times they've had to say, hey, no, that ain't how you should be moving. And even outside of friends, because friends are peers, that could turn into a conversation. But if you trust your people, at least trust them to do what's best by you. But also like mentors. I had a litany of mentors. I was actually talking to my mother earlier in the week about we were just talking about a bunch of different stuff, but we were just talking about a few people that came into my life over time. And my mom had a lot of influence on obviously who I was and wasn't around. So did my father. But you got coaches over all the years, and I think I said this before on episode 1, where I'm remembering football coaches like Coach Muldrow, who used to always say it's hard, but it's fair, as he was torturing us on the football field. But it was hard and it was fair because everybody had to do it. We all working towards the same goal, so it's fair that we share that load. I've had mentors of faith like Pastor Lane, somebody who literally helped build my foundation and what my faith still remains to this day. But this man was knowledgeable. He's an amazing leader, great family man. And I'm still in friendship with his son, who is also a pastor now. So salute to the Lanes, and Isaac Lane is my homie. But Pastor Lane was an amazing influence on my life, somebody who taught a lot from the pulpit, but also wasn't too busy to really come down and talk to a young black brother such as myself and tell me what's what, to push me into spaces where I might be a little uncomfortable, but I had to grow, to hold me accountable, to keep me in community, and really just kind of give you I would call it an outside perspective, but it's not outside. It was only outside because he's not my father, but outside of my house perspective of here's the life I lived. And I think he had 4 or 5 sons himself. So salute to him. I could do a whole podcast episode on the amount of influence and effect that my father had. In any case, the list of people in my community is vast, and if I put it in a map, it would look really interesting, and you could see how, in a lot of ways, some of the things that I might even be sharing with you here today or share with you over time, or things that I've told you in conversations and things that I've learned either through the hard way or through my own experience. My own experience was the hard way, or from my parents' experience or a mentor's experience, came from people who surrounded themselves and cared enough to try to train up a child to be that village, if you will. And even still now, the mark of like the Lake family name will be continuing on through hopefully me and my son as we push forward. But it started with a man called Thomas Lake II, who taught in Tampa, or taught in Hillsborough County for 55 years, I believe it was, in Progress Village, as an educator who was educated himself at a time when that wasn't normal for folks like us, and put himself into a state of community. I saw how he interacted in the neighborhood. I saw how he interacted in business, in his funeral home. I saw how he acted and conducted himself in in his even in his hobbies and the care that he shared with his friends as they started aging, and he would still show up and deliver newspapers to them and make me ride with him to do it, just to put those types of examples in front of you. Because when you're in this community, sometimes you got to sit back and not be the alpha. Rather than leaving the pack, you got to realize that you can't be the alpha in everything and you don't know everything, and sit back and learn a little something, so then you can take it and apply it down to the next group of people who need help. Which actually even ties back into the original point I made when I opened up the show, that you don't know the things that you're doing and how it affects the people that are around you, how they watch you. One of the best representations I've seen recently of this is a commercial, and it's a commercial, but I don't even remember what the commercial was for, but it's a commercial where one person helps like this lady across the street, and somebody saw him do that, and then they were inspired to do something, and then somebody watched them do that, and it just kept going. And the commercial was filmed pretty in a cool way from how I remember it, and it connected all these different people who were just observing people being good in this planet, helping others in their community, and then wanting to do the same for themselves. There's not a lot to dig into here with a topic like community, other than to cover it as I just did in an overall basis. As you work towards whatever goals you're trying to achieve, identify what that title is and what others are working towards a similar thing. I'm not a part of the fitness community per se, but I have more than a few friends who are. And the best way for you to get into something is to join something, to join a group, to join a Facebook group, or join a gym. Start to get into that culture where people are talking and moving and thinking and acting like where you want to be in your goals. And the best thing that you can do is surround yourself with a great community. And the worst thing you can do is to surround yourself with a trash one. So keep that in mind as you move forward. I think I'm going to wrap that up here today, and just tell y'all again, thank y'all for, if you're still here listening, if you're watching this on playback, shoot me a comment in the comment section, or don't shoot me a text, comment in the comment section, and tell me what you think. Are you a lone wolf? Have you been a lone wolf? How'd that work out for you? Have you been in community? What communities do you identify with? What ones would you like to be a part of? Maybe you don't know the avenues to get into those. You know, at one point I was in the biker community. This is so random. That popped into my head right then. Salute to the biker community. Everybody over there was cool. I never had any problems. People teaching you and showing you things as you learn and giving you tips and whatnot. Anyway, join the community. Join my community. Holla at me. Keep me in your circle. I feel like I'm somebody good to know. With that said, I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to have an interview. I got something cool lined up that will tie into the theme of this month. And I'll see y'all next week. We'll talk about a little something else to tickle your fancies. I appreciate any feedback that you give me personally, but I'd appreciate it if you did it here in the comment section, hit the like button, and then share it to somebody who could use it. I am Mike Lake. This is the Unfinished Work Show. Remember, we're building a community of people who want to maximize their self-improvement, because that's what I want to do. This is the Unfinished Work Show. My creator's not done with me. He ain't done with you either.